Defensively, they feel pretty good in net with the veteran DeCrane. 50 saves on the year, 8 shutouts for head coach Tom Anagnist. Got the hood on. It is raining, and it is windy, and it is cold tonight here in Starkville, Mississippi. There you see a nice overall record for Coach Anagnist in just his second season at the helm of the Bulldogs. And we're underway. Kickoff as Mississippi State will have first possession. Bulldogs come out in their breast cancer awareness pink uniforms here in the month of October, which of course is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So they're in the all pink. And meanwhile, LSU will come out with the purple and white uniforms. Alongside Christy Reif, I'm Anthony Craven. Great to have you along for the ride. Last game of the regular season. And immediately LSU on the attack, has numbers, and the Cranes able to deflect it away at the last second.
She did a great job right there. There was a wide open Thompson at that back post. You can see her right there asking for the ball. Had she played that a little bit earlier, I think that would have been an easy tap in for the Tigers to start off this match.
I kept waiting for the pass, and it never came. 1 minute in, and already some action. A corner kick for LSU. It's a high arching kick. Headed once by the Bulldogs, but not cleared. And now right back to the goal and a diving stop for DeCrane.
And you saw 2 players right there for LSU trying to frame the goal. Any shot on frame tonight, they're going to want to follow up. With it raining like this, makes it really hard for the keepers to hold on to any ball.
We've already seen DeCrane in action for the Bulldogs. LSU's keeper is Caroline Brockmeyer.
Nice job by Naya right there, stepping in to break up that pass. And McGilvery, a young lady that's going to need to have a huge game tonight for the Bulldogs.
It's going to be a point of emphasis on our broadcast all night long. Can the Bulldogs get the ball to McGilvery in space and let her go on the attack, or Waldner in space as well?
A little bit of miscommunication right there between the Bulldogs. Carrasco thought Waldner was going to overlap her right there and played that ball into space, and Waldner just didn't read that correctly.
We mentioned it in the open, Christy. Mississippi State has to win tonight and get some help to be into the SEC tournament. We'll talk about the NCAA chances of both of these teams throughout the broadcast tonight. The Bulldogs, of course, nothing's guaranteed, but they came into the week with a top 15 RPI. LSU comes in top 40 RPI. So both teams feel pretty good. LSU's in the SEC tournament, but they're here. I think their main motivation, besides, of course, winning a match, is picking up a road quality win that might clinch them an at-large berth in the NCAAs.
Absolutely, and also just momentum going into the SEC tournament. They had a tie at Tennessee, and then they just came off an overtime victory against a highly ranked South Carolina team. So they're going to want to continue that to momentum, not want to go into the tournament off of a loss.
LSU, one of the hotter teams in the conference.
There you see Waldner getting high for the header, and then there she is again. McGilvery just couldn't get enough on that header. She needs to head that straight down.
And the first stop tonight for the netminder for the Bayou Bengals, Brockmeyer.
But very active. You've already seen Waldner on the ball. McGilvery working really hard out there. McKee had some time and space a few minutes ago. Those are positives for the Bulldogs. Those are players that you want to be very involved tonight for them to get this must win.
We mentioned in the open, and you can probably see, those of you who are watching this, watching it at home or streaming it wherever you may be on this Thursday evening, the rain is not a heavy rain, but it's a constant light rain, and the wind right now is just whipping it across the field. Christie, as a former player, playing in conditions like this, it's been raining all day too here in the Golden Triangle area of Mississippi. Temperatures right now, 55 is generous. It's closer to 50 right now.
That wind is definitely cold. It definitely helps you to stay active. And I'd say as a forward, I actually enjoyed playing in conditions like this because it's fun to take a risk. Oh, and there we see Waldner getting on the end of a great cross by Brooke McKee. Beautiful slotted ball. She gets end line right here. And Waldner she's going to want to try to keep that down. She just hit it over, which is easy to do.
An opportunity missed for Mississippi State. We thought we would see the Bulldogs come out aggressive in the first 5 minutes. I think we were correct. Pretty aggressive play early on for MSU.
Yeah, I would say we've seen two pretty good opportunities, one for each team.
LSU trying to get aggressive.
And that's how quickly Richardson can attack and make a difference in this game tonight.
The Florida State transfer, quick strike, and had the right idea too.
Oh, absolutely. And coaches are encouraging shots. Like I said, in a game like this, the forwards get to take a risk. The defenders have to be so careful. Balls skid atop this grass, excuse me. And nothing's for sure when you're a defender in this. Balls skip. Goalkeepers tend to bobble the ball a little bit more. So really it tends to be an advantage to the offense, to the forward players.
The Bulldogs in a 3-4-3 starting shape, putting an extra midfielder up in the starting shape as opposed to a fourth defender as they have in many of their recent matches because, well, in part they know they have to score
They got to
tonight.
go for it. Yes, a 0-0 tie is not going to get them into the SEC tournament. And I would say that looking back over their schedule, when they've played a 3-4-3, they have produced more goals.
And they've scored early in matches
Yes.
more often than not. First corner kick tonight for the Bulldogs. It'll be handled by Carrasco. She has handled most of the corners this year for the Bulldogs. Headed a little high and wide off to the right side. I think it was Hernandez who got her head on that one.
What a great ball by Carrasco, right in there, into the traffic. Really hard for the keeper to come out and get anything on that with so many players right around her.
There you see the sophomore from Phoenix, Arizona. This team is filled with sophomores and freshmen. The future certainly appears to be very bright for the Bulldogs soccer program. McGilvery on a fast break, and McGilvery puts it in. She goes bottom left-hand corner and squeezes one right past a diving Brockmeyer.
And that's what I'm talking about. That defender just made that quick mistake. McGilvery took a risk to try to win that off of her and does a great job burying this shot to the left-hand corner. I don't think the keeper could have done anything about that shot.
I was going to ask you, is there anything Brockmeyer could have done?
No, especially off this wet ground. It's hard to get a good push off. She did what she could there, but she found the very corner, that left-hand side. I think Waldner played her in on that. Just a no-look pass into space, put that defense on its heels. And in these conditions, anything can happen. That's a great start for the Bulldogs.
The 8th goal this season for the freshman out of New York, Zakira McGilvery. One of the best freshman seasons of any newcomer in the SEC this year. She now leads the team with those 8 goals on the campaign.
It's great to see her and Waldner working together. Obviously, she was coming into this game tied with Waldner for goals. But those two, if they can work off of each other, the Bulldogs go into postseason play very dangerous if they can make that.
So the Bulldogs, the changing of the shape, perhaps, and the more aggressive mindset certainly paying off early as they have a 1-0 advantage less than 10 minutes in. Now LSU will look for the equalizer. Meanwhile, the Bulldogs with momentum looking to tack on some extra offense. We've seen throughout the season too, Christian, you and I have called a large number of MSU matches here in 2018, and we've seen when they score a goal early, more often than not, they score multiple goals in the first half, and it usually leads to a victory.
Yes, I would say if anything, if they haven't scored early, they've had trouble finding the net later on in games. And so this is an excellent start for the Bulldogs with this early goal. But they do tend to find, they get hungry. They know it's going to go in. It's a night where the ball's going to hit the net. And they really go after it.
And there you see the Bulldogs, not just undefeated, they have won every single match this year in which they have scored first, and they have done that tonight. So a lot of stats right now playing into MSU's favor, although it is very early in this one.
And right there you see, if you don't get a header on the ball before it bounces, it tends to skip. And that's where you're going to see forwards taking that risk, trying to take advantage. And anything can happen. And as great as it is that the Bulldogs scored first tonight, the LSU's coming off of a game where they scored late in a match to take that to overtime against South Carolina and then ended up winning that match. This is a team that's not going to give up for 90 minutes.
It's a great point. The Bulldogs have been a very good first half team, at home especially. LSU has been a very good second half team throughout much of the season. And we'll see how it plays out. Should be a good one, as Tom and Agnist and company have to be pleased so far though with the first 11 minutes. That ball gets headed past everyone, but an easy stop for DeCrane. When the wind is picked up even more than when we started just a little over 10 minutes ago. I opened the windows to the press box, and I may have to close them.
It's getting a little chilly.
Although I think it's still raining, but it's lightened up just a bit. So Christy, from what I can tell, from the way that you've been commenting on how the conditions will impact the game, conditions like the ones we have tonight favor the offensive players, and if you're a defensive player, you don't want to see conditions like this.
What nice footwork by Nia Johnson. Oh yeah, as a defender, these games are hard. You just want to do your best to get your body behind the ball and keep the ball in front of you. But when it skips like this, it just makes it really difficult.
McGilvery, quick strike, but got too far underneath the ball and sailed it over the post.
And as a forward, when you take a risk, there's no damage done if it doesn't go your way, right? So if a defender makes a mistake, just like we saw, McGilvery can quickly capitalize on something like that. Beautiful.
Here's the radar. It's a lot of green. Just a lot of green. The good news is it is moving.
That's the wind we feel.
To the east. So we'll see. There's a lot of green blobs though still off to our west, moving our direction. We'll see if it stops at all before this game comes to a close. Didn't think you'd be doing a weather update tonight.
No, I was not prepared for that.
Ball goes back over to Mississippi State. Carrasco plays it in. LSU comes into tonight's match 10-6-1 overall. And even 500 in the SEC, 4-4, one tie. And I mentioned they come into the week ranked 38th in the RPI. They've already clinched an SEC tourney berth, but they are now playing for something even bigger. They feel like they, with a win tonight, can essentially remove all doubt from Selection Day when it comes to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, and I would say that that's probably a pretty strong assumption that they will get a berth into the NCAA with the win tonight.
And we should also point out a loss tonight is not going to hurt LSU's RPI. So I mean they're going to only move up depending on what kind of a result they can get here, a tie or a win. And then they'll have some opportunities, of course, against good teams when they play at the SEC tournament in Orange Beach.
I think we had a call there. I think it was just a slight